Mornin, mortals of the realm of Terra. I am Naservan Mastrov, but you may be permitted to call me Master Serv, creature of Rye, member of the Volkrog clan, and today it is my very great pleasure to read for you Chapter 1 of the Bane of Ashkirath by Ariel Paiement. And here we go. Chapter 1 Dubarren Hill. I do apologize to Ariel Paiement in case I misenunciate anything that she has written, but I have my own individual unique accent and she'll just have to deal with it. Caden Tadigan straightened for a moment, pausing in his work. He wiped the sweat from his brow and craned his neck to see over the hill's rise. The rest of the dig crew. What is going on here? It's a dig crew? Are they okay? Let's see what keeps going. The rest of the dig crew was still working on the opposite of the hill. Stretching, he picked his shovel back up and returned to digging into the side of Dubarren Hill. I wonder what's going on in Dubarren Hill. Oh, I remember. I never visited this realm very often, neither as a mortal nor as a creature of Rye, but I think I remember the history here. Oh, creature of Rye. Yeah, I forgot to mention. Volkrogs. Many of you may not know. Volkrogs. I love to be a Volkrog. Volkrogs are so awesome. I am a member of a Volkrog clan, meaning that I can shift from mortal to Volkrog at will. And Volkrog, it's like a canine creature, comparable to yours people's wolf, with a horn on his head and magical powers. But enough about me and my ramblings. I need to get back to work. I promised James to keep these things under 10 minutes, or he's not going to permit me to do these readings anymore. He worked with fervor, but also with care, not wanting to damage anything. The sun glared down on him, roasting him alive, and he wiped the back of his neck with a cloth. Nothing had rewarded him for his labor yet, but that didn't mean it didn't work. Perhaps he might find something on this side of the hill to answer the questions they'd come here to answer. Oh, come here to answer, digging. James told me about something like this that they do on the realm of the light, like archaeology, like what he did before we enticed him to become an author. I wonder if that's similar to what's going on here. Let us continue. He took another breath, the misty scent of freshly turned soil filling his senses. Oh, I remember how that smelled. I didn't do much of it because I was a master of Trevisil and didn't do much work with my hands. I just said some magic words and everything worked for me. Well, not really magic, but good enough. Well, back to reading. Well, even if they never determined whether those who had clashed here were the old gods, they'd at least proven that there had been a battle. There was something. They could hold their heads high when they spoke to the king of Argos about the dig, and when they returned to the Society of the Learned, they'd have something to report. Well, I suppose that's good. The hole he was digging had turned into an open-roofed tunnel that sloped gradually downward as he went. Perhaps he'd gone a bit overboard, but he'd had a good feeling about this area. Ooh, I know how that feels. Maybe it's the magic of his realm telling him where to dig. He could sense in his bones. He could just sense it in his bones. There was something here. He just had to find it. Around 7 feet down into the side of the hill, his shovel struck something with a dull thud. He tested the soil with the tip of his shovel, trying to determine what it was. When he shifted more dirt, he saw a flash of white under the sun. More bones? Caden knelt in the hole and brushed loose the layer of dirt away. The yellow-white bones of a corpse glared up at him in the harsh rays of the sun. Still dirt packed around the majority of the remains. He hadn't found any bones on this side of the hill, and he'd just begun to think the battle hadn't raged this far. Perhaps they just hadn't digged in the right places. It seemed they'd given up too soon. Oh, yeah, I remember this. They did give up too soon. Kneeling, he brushed the dirt away and grabbed a trowel. Oh, I remember those trowels. Small little things. Not very effective for killing, but I don't think that that's what the archaeologists are meant to do. Gently clearing packed clouds of dirt and I misread that. Gently clearing packed clods of dirt and loose soil away from the corpse. Oh, right. That's why they had it. They didn't have to kill, they had it to dig. I suppose it could work for that. But why would you want something to dig? Mortals are so silly. When he backed up further up the side of the slope and sat on his heels, staring down at it. I wonder what he's staring down at. Inside the tunnel, the bones rested. Time and worms had rotted through the cloth of the deceased individual. The slender facial structure of the skull and the tiny stature indicated it was a woman. He frowned. Who is this? They hadn't found any woman's corpses in this battlefield. What was this one doing here all by herself? A book. Oh, a book. A book lay locked against the corpse's chest, her skeletal hands clutching it to her, even in the rigor of death. He leaned down, seeking to pry it from the hand of the skeleton. The hands wouldn't budge. Strange, the tendons were long gone. Nothing should be stopping him from removing the bones. Caden put his hands on his hips. Well, destroying the corpse wouldn't do. Too disrespectful to the dead. He'd have to try a different angle. Jumping up and down in the hole again, he tried to slide the book out of the corpse's grasp. This time the hands relinquished their prize, and he stared down at the book's unmarked leather cover, which was worn with age and crusted in dirt. A quiver ran through him, and he grinned. What treasures of knowledge did this thing contain? He took a closer look at it, rubbing the dirt on the corners before pausing in his attempts to clean the item. The leather binding was in remarkable condition for the age of the corpse. He glanced back at the bones, far too old for the condition of the book. So how had the skeleton come to be clutching the book in the tight grip of death? He clambered back up. Maybe it's a magic book. Caden clambered back up the mouth of his open-roofed tunnel and sat down, dropping the book beside him. What secrets did the skeleton hold she would never share now? His mind whirred through the possibilities, and he glanced down at the book. Perhaps it held the answers. With his pace racing, he flipped over the cover and began fingering through the book, which seemed to be a diary of some sort. The book's pages were stuck together with time and dark brown substance, though they yielded some with gentle prying. So it is an old book, but the cover looks new. That's strange. Upon closer examination, he realized it looked much like dried blood. Ooh, that's never fun. What had he stumbled across? Maybe he did use his child to kill the woman. It was just centuries too early. Hopefully, nothing accompanied by a curse. Ooh, I hate curses. He never knew with old artifacts. He'd run into some strange things before. Caden, what are you doing over here? Caden looked up to find Zerua strolling down the hill toward him. Unable to contain the excitement, he jumped to his feet and waved to his wife, a grin spreading across his face. Zer, look what I found! He pointed at the gravesite and waved the book. She rushed to see a smile lighting up her gray eyes. What is it? Ooh, gray-eyed people. I don't trust them. Has to be Svetlanatic. I never trusted her. She had gray eyes, too. I think it's some sort of burial site. He crouched down on the edge of the pit he'd ended at, and set the book down between them. It's the first woman we've found buried here. Any clues as to why she was buried? She leapt behind him and stared at the bones. He shook his head and sat back on his heels. His attention returned to the book. Not yet. Let's take a look at this book, though. See, she was holding it. Oh. As awesome is, I am out of my minutes. So let me end by saying, check out this book. It has all of my attention grabbed, and I am enjoying it immensely. Bane of Ashkirath by Ariel Paiement, and I will have James post the link and the book cover in the comments. Thank you.